Well, hey everyone, this is Bob from Bossrox DIY Solar, and this is an update to the Bateria video I did recently. And I decided to take the plunge and replace all the grow watts with Bateria. And all four of those Baterias that I bought cost me $800. The same price as what you'd pay for if you bought one Victron or one Renogy. So anyways, I wanted to show you, with them all running now, just how much noise these grow watts make. And I don't know if you can hear the audio on that, but there's the noise that they make. And over here is the Bateria. And you can barely hear that over the grow watts there. And once I get all the Baterias put up here, we'll do another sound test on this and see how much quieter it is with all the Baterias running at the same time. So they're on order. They'll be in probably about a week, and when I get them all put up, we'll come back and see what happens. Stay tuned. All right, well, there you go. They're all in, and they're up and running right now. All the fans are running, and you can hear this. Okay, that's definitely putting out a little bit of sound, but it's different than the grow watts. The grow watts got this whiny, high-pitched sound, and these have a mellower, lower frequency sound, which is much more pleasant to listen to than the grow watts were. So anyways, I've got some testing to do today, and I'm going to write up a list of things that come up, and we'll go over those a little bit later. Here's something that's way better on the Baterias than on the grow watts. And the Baterias here have a battery high voltage limit setting on it, where the grow watts don't. And I'll tell you why that's important. The higher voltage you use to charge your batteries, the faster they're going to charge. So on the Baterias, what I can do is I can set the voltage up really high and get these batteries up really fast, and then when they hit the limit of what I set at, which is about 27.4 volts, then they'll automatically shut down. Now I could do the same thing with the grow watts. I can set them at a high voltage charge rate, but without that limit switch on it, it's just going to go over the 27.4 mark and just keep on going until whatever I got the setting at. So on the grow watts, what I've had to do is, if I wanted to charge these banks really fast, I'll set the limit high, but I've got to sit in here and watch my banks, and then when I see that they reach their high limit of about 27.4 volts, then I manually have to go up to the grow watts and cut them back. So this saves me a big hassle not having to do that. So that's a big plus for the Baterias there, that they have that limit switch on it there. Well, here's something that doesn't make any sense. Here I'm running 66 amps out of this charger at 1700 watts, and this one over here is running 6 amps less and is putting out 1860 watts. That's about 150 watt difference, that this one is higher and using less amps than this one over here. I'm not quite sure what to make of that, but we'll just go on from there. Alright gang, I've got to say these Baterias here have really impressed me, and I'm not easy to impress. They're doing a wonderful job, and I'm so glad I got them. And one of the things I found out is this thing gave me a clue that I might have a problem with my panel wiring. And I discovered that by these amp meters down here. When they're in the off mode, all these amp meters should show 0. But I was showing 3 chargers that had plus charges. One had a negative charge and another one had a plus charge. And I said, I wonder if that has something to do with the panel wiring not being right. So I went up there and I started checking all the wires, and believe it or not, I found 3 strings that were mismatched, where I actually took a positive, put it on one bus bar to one charger, and the negative on a totally different charger. So that helped me to get that straightened out, and that was pretty good. That Bateria gave me the clue that there was an issue going there. So Uh, Next thing is these things operate quite differently than anything else that I would expect. They say they have a float charge built into it, but I don't see it doing any floating whatsoever. Now I got my settings set at 27.6 volts for the charging voltage, and then 27.4 is the high limit. So as it's charging 27.6, once it reaches 27.4, it shuts down the system. And then the reconnect setting is at 27.2. So when it falls down to 27.2, it reconnects the chargers. And as you see right now, I've got 4 chargers that are sitting idle that aren't doing anything, and only one that's working. And believe it or not, my load is pretty light today because it's a mild day. And this will run a little while, and all 5 will shut down until the meter up there registers 27.2. Then one of them will kick in, and if the load gets higher and higher, then more and more chargers will start kicking in. So that's pretty impressive, the way these things are working. I'm real happy with it. Now there's some other issues here that I don't like, that I'm going to shoot that over to Bateria and tell them, and hopefully they'll make some improvements in the future and make a better charger. One of the things that I would like to see on these chargers here is an on-off switch. Okay, you definitely have to have an on-off switch on these things. Now they've got a backlight on this thing that's timed, and it doesn't matter whether it's day or night. It controls it, the timing on it, whether it's day or night. So if it's in the middle of the day and the timer goes out, then it's off. Now they should have this thing where it's always on when it's running, and only use the timer for when you're using it at night and you're messing around with the front panel or something like that, for it to come on, and then time off after you're done with it. This alarm function here, so these things are all idle right now, so they're not running, but there's nothing wrong with them. But this light is saying alarm. Now a lot of people that aren't really savvy in off-gridding and stuff like that will see that and say, hey, there may be something going on with my system. There's some error or some problem going on there. And that'll get some people, some people into fits, wondering what the heck's going on, when really there is nothing going on. So really you ought to add a second light, put it in between the two, and put like a yellow light or something like that, so when this thing is in idle mode, it'll show the yellow light instead of the alarm. The alarm should only come on when there's some kind of a fault. Okay, now like I was telling you before, the front panel programming on this thing is absolutely atrocious. Bateria, you need to go and look at Growwatt's programming and copy that and put it on your chargers. If you do that, you'll have a charger that will be so fantastic that it'll put everybody else in the ditch, and everybody else will be buying these instead of the other chargers. Now the display. Now this is kind of neat. This thing gets activated by actually touching it, but sometimes when you touch it, it doesn't do anything. Reach around here and touch. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why it's not very sensitive, but when you touch it, it's supposed to activate the backlight on it. Well, anyways, this solar panel MPT and battery indicator that you've got on here, this is eye candy for the dumb. This is absolutely not necessary, and that space could be used by something more important information. In fact, you need to expand the size of this display here and put all the pertinent information about this charger. The battery voltage, the PV voltage, PV watts, PV amps, all that stuff should be able to be seen on the screen. As you can see here, I've got all these meters up here to monitor all that stuff, because it's such a hassle to go up here and push the button and find out what each function is doing. So if you had all that on the same display, you would make most off-gridders real happy campers by doing that. Now, like I said before, you go insane trying to program this thing through the front button, so you need to have the Bluetooth on it. So if you're planning on buying more than one of these units here, you could save yourself a little bit of money by just buying one unit with a BT module and then buying the rest of the units without the BT module, because they charge you an extra $30 for that BT module. And the reason why I say that is because that you can take that BT module off your first unit there after you get done programming it and switch it over to your other chargers there and do the same thing. So that'll save you $30 a charger by just getting one BT module. Now let's see. When I first got this Bateria in here, I was doing some programming on it one night, and apparently I put some figures in there that it didn't agree with, and it started malfunctioning. So, and what happened is the backlight went dim and it wouldn't come back up, and I lost contact with my BT module. So now on the BT module there's a factory reset setting, but you can't factory reset it from the BT module if you don't have BT communication. So I took a guess, and it turned out to be right. And I took my my fingers and put them on these two buttons here and pressed them both simultaneously. I wasn't really paying attention, and I might have done it a couple of times, but what that did is that factory resetted this thing and brought it back to life again. So if you ever run into that issue, that's how you take care of that. And they don't tell you that in the owner's manual that you can factory reset it that way. So they ought to do something about that. The other thing is this door here. I do not like this door at all because the screws are so tiny, and I've dropped these screws so many times trying to get them in and out, taking these doors off. Because every once in a while you want to take these off and check the tightness of the connections to make sure that they're good and strong. What you ought to do is put some kind of a hinge on this so that it'll flip down where you can get into it. Also, the upper lip on here is lower than the actual screws behind the panel there where you tighten them down at. So when you stick the screwdriver in, it's not going in straight, it's cockeyed downwards. So you're not really getting a good firm grip on that screw when it's cockeyed like that. So they need to raise that lip a little bit there so the screwdriver will go in straighter. And let me see, what else have we got here? There is speculation that this might be able to be used on Wi-Fi. I'm not real sure about that because I don't use Wi-Fi at all at my place, so it's not important enough for me to investigate with any rigor. So, but what I think is I think you can hook up where you hook up the Bluetooth module. You can hook up a cable to your computer and feed the information off this charger into that computer and send it over your Wi-Fi. Now, I might be wrong about that. You'll have to check with the company to see if that's capable or not. And other than that, that's about all there is to say about these things here. They're just generally overall they're a really good charger, but they could be a little bit better, I think. And you know, those improvements that I was telling you about, even if you had to charge $50 more to make those improvements, so I don't think it would cost you that much more to do that. For the price you're charging for these chargers here, adding another $50 to it would be absolutely nothing, because these are like super cheap compared to all the other chargers on the market, and they do so much better. So really, if you get all those changes put in there, raise your price $50, they'll still sell like hotcakes, and you'll bury everybody else and put them in a ditch. So there you go. All right, now I'm not going to be doing too many more videos after this because my system is almost complete. The only thing I've got left to do is get a couple more of these battery packs here, 2 more, and that'll give me 100 kilowatts, and that'll finish off my system. And so I'm going to do a Grand Tour video is going to be my next video, and that ought to be a lot of fun. and I'll show you everything I've got going on here, which is quite unusual compared to most other systems that you look at here on YouTube. And as for example, I got 16,000 watts of inverters hooked up. There's another 4,000 spares sitting down there, so actually I got 20,000 watts of inverters. And then of course there's 500 watts of charging power right there. And then on top of that, I've got 39 kW in solar panels. And then I do most of my water heating with solar collectors. So I'll be showing you that. And also have solar furnaces that heat my shed and my cabin. And during the wintertime, they just work fantastic. So pretty soon sometime, I'll get to that and put that video together and get it up there. And after that, there won't be too much more because I'll just have everything done. You know, I might get something in every now and then to test out and put it up there, but that's going to be pretty much it. So my entire 5 years of putting this system together is all there on my channel from start to end, and you get to see how it all went together. So anyways, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one soon.